All right, so Thunderbolts. Is it the new masterpiece from Marvel? The best Marvel film ever made? No. Is it the best Marvel film in a long time? Yes. But it's still not the best Marvel movie. It's just better than the slop that we've been getting recently. It still has quite a few of the flaws that have been plaguing the second generation of Avengers MCU films recently, especially in the third act. But it's good. It really is good. It approaches themes and topics with a seriousness and rawness that hasn't been seen in the franchise in years. It explores characters and their personalities and allows them to have flaws that aren't just played for laughs. I also really like the creative marketing. The asterisk on Thunderbolts and the slow reveal that the actual title is The New Avengers. It's a fun and interesting way to advertise the film, and it brings a sort of excitement that is vaguely familiar for older fans like me who enjoyed the original run of MCU and Avengers. Now, this was going to be a video talking about Thunderbolts and deep diving into it, but honestly, as soon as I started thinking about the fact that I had a little bit of excitement and I started feeling a little bit of the enjoyment that I had with old Marvel, I immediately started becoming wary. And that's where this video is going to explore why, as much as I like Thunderbolts, I still don't like Marvel anymore. So let's explain why. Let's look at the fact that there is an Instagram account for a new Avengers film called Doomsday. RDJ is back, but not as Tony, but as Dr. Doom. They released a picture of chairs that show it's an exorbitant amount of chairs and names and people for characters that we don't know and don't care about. Ensemble Avengers film, but who are these people? Why should we care? We haven't had any solo films, any characters leading up to this. We don't have any, or at least none that we actually care about. We've had a Captain America film that bombed, an Ant-Man that was a snooze fest, a Doctor Strange that happened so long ago and also butchered a great character. Sure, there's been shows, but most of the shows are terrible. And also, for casual viewers, how many people are going to go through the absolute homework never-ending assignment that is Marvel TV shows? How many casual viewers are just going to go through that? I'm a Marvel fan and I'm not going to go through it. A lot of Marvel fans haven't. Not just because the shows are shit half the time, but also because it's so much. There's been so many MCU film failures recently, but yet we're getting an Avengers film. Sure, Guardians 3 was a success, and Thunderbolts is becoming a success as well, but everything else has been absolutely terrible, and we don't care about anyone. So let's compare really quick. Before Avengers 2012, we had 2 Iron Man films, we had a Captain America film, we had a Thor film, and technically a Hulk film. Before Age of Ultron, we had another Iron Man, another Captain America, another Thor. We had a mini ensemble for a ragtag group called Guardians of the Galaxy. Then before Infinity War, we had another Thor film, a Captain America film that served as a middle ground between the 2 Avengers films, and another Guardian, a Spider-Man, a Black Panther, a Captain Marvel, even though it was crap. I mean, and also Ant-Man was somewhere in there, but see what I mean? We had so many individual films for these characters to grow, for them to have their own stories, for us to bond with them, to give a shit, to care about them. And then the Avengers films, they would all come together and, fans of Captain America would go see the Avengers because Captain America was in it. Fans of Iron Man would go see, even if there wasn't as much crossover between the fans, for these individual films. Because I had friends who were huge fans of Iron Man but didn't really like Captain America, so they didn't go see Captain America, but they would go see Iron Man and then go see Avengers. And I had people who were just watching the individual films that came out And then they were like, oh, that this character's in this film, weird. And so then they would go see it because, like, you know, they liked the action of Winter Soldier, so they would go see Avengers Age of Ultron because they were like, oh, that character's in there and it's pretty cool. But again, we had these individual films where these characters grew and had their own lives, and, you know, and then these Avengers films would have them coming together to face a villain, and that was too large for them to face as individuals. We haven't had any of that this time around. We haven't had any of the characters have their own films and build up their own character arcs. We haven't had an opportunity to bond with anyone, to become attached to a single character's journey or personality. And so far, every film has had its own world-ending events, and all of these characters that we have seen have handled it pretty well on their own. So why do they even need to come together anymore? We don't even need a superhero team anymore because there's so many like little superhero teams as is, and there's so many world-ending events as is, and they're handling their own things on their own. So, like, why do they need to come together? They're already handling universe-ending, world-ending events by themselves. So who gives a fuck about a team? There's a reason why there were people who were Team Iron Man and Team Captain America when it came to Civil War. Because we watched these two characters over the course of their own films have their own journeys and their own beliefs, and we got attached to them. We bonded with them. If we only ever saw them in Avengers films and then suddenly there was a Civil War film, fans wouldn't have been as passionate, decisions behind these characters wouldn't have made as much sense, and overall it would have been a much more dull experience. The second generation of the MCU has just been about checkpoints instead of a story. It's been about checking off these boxes for what looks cool rather than what is expanding the story and exploring and organically having these characters grow, and for audiences to become attached to these characters. Why is no one seeing these films? Because not only are half of them absolute dog shit, but also because there's so much reliance on the brand. No one saw Captain America Brave New World because Sam's story was explored in a TV show, very terribly by the way, and the movie had no story. There were no opportunities to care about the character. We didn't get to explore him being the new Captain America. It was just, he's cool and he's here and he's Cap and everyone likes Cap. No, Steve Rogers was our Captain America. Sam can wear the suit, but other than that, why do we care about him? What makes him so special to hold the shield and to have the name Captain America? Why does he even want it? What are his struggles with it, externally and internally? I know, like, again, I know like a little bit of this was explored in the show, but I saw the show and I don't remember it and I don't care. And again, the casual viewer is not going to care. And Steve Rogers never had a TV show to go through this. We saw his journey in the films he was in. We saw Steve struggle and fight. We saw his flaws and his positives. And we were able to explore this character arc with him over the course of his 3 individual movies. So far, Sam has just been funny. We need something more in order to care about him. And that's the case in point. Care. It just comes across as a lack of care because Disney doesn't care, which means that I don't care. I'm not going to go spend my money to go see a movie if I don't care about the character or the film or any of that. And if I'm not spending the money to go see the movie, I'm certainly not going to go spend my money to see the movie multiple times. I know that there's other fans that can relate. Part of the revenue for previous MCU films wasn't just people going on the opening weekend or the second weekend. It was the people who went to go see these films multiple times. I saw Avengers 2012, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Captain America Winter Soldier, Civil War, and a couple other Marvel films multiple times. I saw them, like, especially Avengers and Winter Soldier, I saw those at least a couple times a week for multiple weeks. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that got added into the total gross earnings for those films. And I was not the only one. I cannot tell you how many times I saw the same people going every freaking Thursday night to go see these films. But that's when I cared and had a passion for the story. But I don't care anymore. And because Disney doesn't care anymore. All I think about is people will care because it's the Avengers name. The name is recognizable. No, it's because I wanted to see how Steve and Tony got along. I wanted to see Bruce and Tony's friendship. I wanted to see how Steve and Nat and Clint approached missions together. I wanted to see Thor be completely out of pocket in this modernized world. Disney just thinks that an explosion, a flashback, a recognizable entity like the shield or the Iron Man suit will be enough to attract attention. But they don't work on the story. They don't work on the why. They don't work on why a character made a decision. They don't work on why a film has a certain plot. They just see a thing and put it on the board and say that's reason enough. Let's look at Doomsday. RDJ being cast as Doctor Doom is such a massive play to latch on to fan nostalgia. And like, I can understand the logical reasons, and like, let's just explore like a logical reason as to why RDJ is Doctor Doom. Maybe in an alternate universe, Tony somehow became corrupted, and instead of becoming Iron Man and instead of being saved, he became corrupted, as I just said, and became Doctor Doom. But that's the problem, is I'm just guessing, because that could possibly, at least to me, be the only reason as to why someone who looks like Tony Stark is Doctor Doom. We haven't had too much exploration of alternate universe, of the alternate realities. We've had very little exploration. And for such a jump, that an alternate Tony is so drastically different than Tony that we know is actually insane. We haven't had a deep dive exploring how different people and characters are across these universes and realities. Sure, Gamora we saw in Guardians 3, but really the only difference was that she wasn't in love with Quill. Like, she was practically the same as she was in the first film, just a little bit different, a little less soft. But relatively, she was pretty much the same. And I know Loki goes into it a little bit, but again, it's a TV show. We're not going to talk about the TV shows here. I also haven't seen the Loki TV show. I watched like the first episode and I didn't want to see any more. And Doctor Strange didn't really explore it too much. So with Avengers Doomsday, if they go with the idea of a dark Tony, they're going to have to explore it, explain it, going to have to introduce this whole concept along with a bajillion new characters. It's going to turn into a rushed concept and rushed characters, and that just sounds like not a good film and not something I want to see. And I don't even want to think about if they try and play off that Doom looks like Tony but isn't Tony. It's just not going to make sense. Like, there has to be some sort of through line connection. Maybe with Fantastic Four, they'll explain the alternate universe and realities a little bit better, but it's already an ensemble film introducing an entirely new cast of characters that we have to somehow like establish and connect with in some way. If they try and introduce all of these characters along with the alternate reality universe thing, I have a feeling it'll become too convoluted and it'll miss the point, miss the mark for both plot and character. That's just my theory. I mean, I hope I will be eating my words. I really, really do, because I miss Marvel. I miss the joy that I used to have with it. I just wish that Disney would remember as to why we fell in love with Marvel in the first place. And Thunderbolts is kind of a hint that they're like, it's kind of a sign that they are understanding what has been going wrong with Marvel recently. I just want Disney to remember that the reason why we fell in love with Marvel in the first place wasn't because of the name Avengers. It was because of the characters and their journey. Thunderbolts is good. You should go see it. It's a bright little light in a sea of darkness. Anyways, I had to get that off my chest. If you enjoyed my ranting, please leave a like. If you want to see me be a little bit more calm and explore things a little bit less chaotically, there are videos on my page. Please go check them out. If you want to see me talk more about films and shows both calmly and chaotically, please subscribe. And also, if you've made it this far, I'm going to talk about it really quick. I have recently started a pretty intense fitness journey to run to enter a trail run race. I'm entering like a marathon race thingamajiggy. So I have an Instagram dedicated to my fitness journey and everything, and I will have that linked below if you want to check it out. If you're curious about who I am as a person outside of just being a nerd. But anyways, until next time, bye.